Hello YouTube, this is Impulse here, bringing you a game review, and the game that I am reviewing today is called Hatred. As most of you know, Hatred was that extremely controversial, violent game that was rated adults only by the ESRB, which means you can't Twitch stream it, and it cannot be published on consoles, which is very interesting. However, I'm not here to discuss the controversy around the game, I'm here to actually rate the game and be a critic on it. So this game was released by Destructive Creations on June 1st, and this also happens to be their very first game along with my very first review, so hey, there we go. So, does Hatred actually live up to all the hype that it's been creating up in the media? Find out in this review. Alright, so before we start the review, I just want to go over one quick thing, and that is the categories that I will be going over in this review. For Hatred, I believe I have 5 categories. I have a category for story, visuals, gameplay, sound, and replay value. This is pretty much just a standard that I will use, but it will change depending on the game that I'm reviewing, and I find that just using this way, it makes it for a clear structure that we can go for. Alright, so with all of that said, let's get into the first category of this review, and that is the game's story. Now, pros of the story. I couldn't really think of any. There is no story, which is kind of disappointing. I'm more of a story guy, to be honest. I like a story to go along with my game, and pretty much the whole thing can be summed up in this clip.
My name is not important. What is important is what I'm going to do. I just fucking hate this world and these human worms feasting on its carcass. My whole life is just cold, bitter hatred.
Alright, but yeah, I mean, there is absolutely no story at all. Pretty much all there is just, you're a guy, kill things, done. And I mean, it isn't completely bad. I mean, I knew this was kind of like a small little indie game, but I still wish there was some sort of, you know, not effort, but kind of motivation behind it, because we have no idea who this guy is. We don't know what he wants. Like, all we know that he hates people, but why does he hate people? Why does he want to, you know, kill all these people, commit genocide and all of that kind of stuff? Anyways, with all of that said, let's move on to the next category, which is the visuals of the game. Alright, as for the visuals of the game, I really like the whole color scheme of the game. I liked how it's black and white, with only like police cars or the neon lights having color. I think it's really nice, because it kind of does create this atmosphere of it being really dark, because you are murdering all of these innocent people. And I don't condone mass murdering people. Alright, I just want to get that out of the way. I don't support it, I never will, but I mean, just the atmosphere that this game has, it is really nice. I do like it, and I just find it really nice. I really do like the color scheme. As for the bad things that I didn't like about the visuals, it was that the models and the graphics aren't really the best. It was made in like Unreal Engine, They do kind of look like they're plastic a little bit, and they do kind of look like they're from like 2008. And hell, I mean, Mafia 2 even looks better than this game, to be honest. But, I mean, graphics aren't everything, you know? Every sensible gamer knows that. So, what it really all comes down to is the gameplay of the game. Is the game fun? As for the gameplay in Hatred, it does have a lot of pros and cons to it. I have a lot of stuff down here. Pros about the gameplay of Hatred. The vehicles are drivable, which I think is really cool. You don't often see that in a game like this, where the vehicles are drivable and you can like ram them into buildings and stuff. I think that is really cool. The game does have select environments, or like different environments. So like one mission you'll be in a town, like next you'll be on a train, sewers, stuff like that, like public places, trains, you know, where it's kind of closed off a little bit, which is good. It's nice to have some variety in that. There is destruction in this game too, which is really nice. Like I said before, you can take your car and just ram it into a building, which I think is just the coolest thing ever to have destruction in this. Often when you'll be shooting through walls, like pieces of the wall will fall down, so AI or like NPCs can't just hide behind a wall and you have to go into the room and kill them. No, you can shoot down the wall. Hell, you can even blow down the wall with like a grenade, and there are plenty of like propane tanks, gas tanks, and other things like that to blow up. So I think that is really cool. The cutscene executions in the game, when like you'll wound somebody and then you go up to them and press Q, I believe, to enter a cutscene of like him executing them, and I think these are really cool. Again, I don't condone murdering people, but for what the game is meant for, I do think this is really cool. The cutscenes are really nice. I do find that they get a little bit repetitive. As you're playing through the game, you kind of start seeing the same things over and over and over and over again. But, I mean, not too bad. I think they're really cool anyway. And talking about the executions, that's how you get health back in this game, and I think that is really cool. As a way, like, you don't just rely on your, like, standard, like, health kit or anything like that. You actually use this mechanic to get your health back, so you have an incentive to use it, which I think is really nice. There's also a lot of variety of weapons to choose from throughout the game. Like, you have pistols, assault rifles, shotguns. Hell, there's even a fucking flamethrower in there, which I think is just the coolest thing. You just have flamethrowers, grenades, everything. Like, you'll be entertained for days. Now, the things that I didn't find so good about the gameplay. The AI is kind of dumb. Often they'll just kind of sit there and stare at you, even though you're mowing down everyone around them. They'll just kind of stare at you for a second and then run away. Not actually a second. They kind of stand there for like 5 seconds until you kill them or something. And cops kind of do the same thing. They don't always shoot at you. They just kind of sit there for a little bit, and I don't really understand why. Another thing I didn't like was you can't aim lower than your at your targets. Like, say if you're up on a balcony and your targets are like below you, you can't aim at them, which I think is really weird, and I think that is annoying as hell because you have to be on the same level as them to kill them, which kind of sucks. Another thing I didn't like about this was there is an ammo counter. I don't really agree with this. I think with this style of game, like we know if this game was on console, you'd pretty much just be using both sticks, as your only thing. You use the left stick to move around, right stick to shoot. But games like that don't ever keep track of ammo, really. You never run out of ammo, unless if it's like a power-up weapon. So I don't think you should ever be able to run out of ammo. I thought you should have had unlimited ammo with your basic like AK. Because I often found myself like having no ammo whatsoever, and it was kind of annoying. One of the last things, I think the game is just a little bit too hard. Don't get me wrong, I'm not for games that you can just breeze through right away. I don't necessarily like that. But I was playing on easy throughout the game, and I found myself just dying a lot by the stupidest things. Like, cars will just kind of kill you instantly. And I don't mean like you're standing in front of a car and it runs you over. Yeah, you should die from that. But I was like, I grazed the side of a car, and I just died instantly. I thought it was kind of dumb. I didn't like the whole you die and you have to do the whole level again. I found that really fucking annoying. I thought there should have been more checkpoints in the missions. Well, there are no checkpoints. It's like start of the mission, and if you die anywhere in between that and you don't have a respawn, you're fucked. I thought there should have been a checkpoint every time you finish something. So, like, say if you, like, clean out a train station, like, that's some of the objectives in the game. Sometimes you'll be tasked with cleaning out a train station or, like, killing all the people in it. And then you'll have to survive a police raid afterward, and that'll be your new objective. I wish there was a checkpoint in the middle of there, because there's some of these missions, you're fucking fighting nothing but army personnel. Like, it gets really hard sometimes. Last thing I didn't like about the game, and this is kind of a nitpicky thing, but this game on my PC, and I have a pretty damn good PC, but this game took fucking forever to load. I don't know what it was. It took like a minute or two to load. I felt like I was playing a Commodore 64. I don't know what was up with that. Anyways, that was just kind of weird. Overall in the gameplay, it's kind of eh. You know, I mean, it has its pros and cons. They're about even. But anyways, with all that wrapped up, let's get into the sound of the game. Alright, so with the sound of the game, there's not too much to talk about here. Things that I liked about the sound. The voice acting in this game is extremely realistic, I have to say. When you are gunning down people, it feels like you are gunning down people and they are screaming for their lives. It's pretty intense, and I actually kind of felt bad, you know, hearing these people scream, because, again, I don't condone mass murder. The weapon sounds are serviceable, but they're not too good. They're kind of standard, you know. It's nothing that you'll find in, like, Battlefield or anything like that. Things I didn't like about the sound of the game, there is no soundtrack whatsoever that I can even remember. I know the devs came out saying they wanted it to be like that, you know, to add to the atmosphere of the game. You know, they wanted it to be grim as possible. But I wish they wouldn't have done that. I wish they would have added some sort of soundtrack to the game. I wish there would have been, like, hell, add some, like, heavy metal back there, because that's what you used in the credits. I just wish there was some sort of soundtrack to the game. I wish there was some variety there, because it did kind of get weird or, like, stale just hearing nothing the whole time. I didn't like that too much. Alright, so with that said, let's get into our final category, the replay value of the game. Alright, as for the replay value of the game, honestly, I don't see very much reason to replay through this. As far as I could tell, there weren't any, like, secrets or collectibles in the game, and it's just the same story every time. The same levels, the same objectives. So I don't really find much reason to play through the game again. I don't know why I would. The game was extremely short. It was like 2 hours, 3 hours max. It wasn't very long at all. Granted, it's not a full AAA $60 game. It's only $20. But I mean, I do feel like there's some, like, content lacking here. I feel like this game should have been $10, and that would have been fine, because it's just a simple stick shooter. I mean, there's nothing significant about it. Anyways, with all of those categories wrapped up, I'm going to be explaining my rating scale for this. Alright, so the rating scale that I'm going to be using here is pretty much an exact copy of Angry Joe's, where 5 is average and, you know, 10 is fantastic, but I will go through them here in depth, and you will see them on your screen too. So 0 is pretty much just unplayable. It's, don't touch this game. Like, you will die if you will play it. Like, you don't touch it at all. 1 through 3 is pretty bad. I would only consider playing these titles if you want to play some really shitty games. Like, I wouldn't want to play any shitty games. These are usually like your movie cash-in titles, you know, like Battleship, the Thor games, the Green Lantern games, shit like that. 4 is a little bit below average. As I said before, 5 is average. 6 is a little above average. 7 and 8 is above average. These games you should check out if you have any interest in them. 9 is great. I would definitely recommend playing this. You should probably buy it. 10 is just fantastic, amazing. You need to own this game. You need to own it in your collection if you call yourself a gamer. Alright, so with all of that said, you know, we explained the rating scale. We went over all of the categories. I think it is time to give my overall rating of this game. And I believe that Hatred deserves a 5 out of 10. It's an average game. It's not, you know, it's not the best, but, you know, you kind of get through it. I wouldn't recommend it for $20. I would recommend it more for $10 if it ever goes on sale, like during the Steam summer sale that's going on right now. But other than that, just a 5 out of 10. It's average. It's not terrible, but it's nothing spectacular. Hopefully Destructive Creations will be able to give us a game in the future that has more content to it and has more replay value and fix some of those gameplay issues that I was talking about earlier. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. I hope you liked this first game review that I did. Leave comments below on how I can improve the video. You know, tell me, you know, am I talking too much? Am I talking too excited, too loud, too quiet? Stuff like that. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I can't wait to see you guys on the next one. Oh yeah, and don't forget, feel free to suggest games that I should review. I'd really love that. Anyways, see you guys. Have a good one.